Here's more wrestling news for May 17th, 2023, and we're kicking off with WWE's Money in the Bank, which will take place for the first time ever from London, England in July of this year. Given the two titular ladder matches, Money in the Bank is considered one of the most exciting nights on WWE's calendar, and what plans do they already have in store? As we've previously reported, LA Knight has not been locked in as the winner as some have claimed, but that doesn't mean he won't be in the match. According to sources who reached out to us, Knight is one name that has been close to confirmed for the match, as has Damian Priest, Bobby Lashley, and Matt Riddle. If all four superstars are in the men's match, that'll leave two vacant spots, and the source adds that Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Finn Balor, Chad Gable, and Edge are all being discussed as potential combatants. Money in the Bank will be a career-defining night for two superstars who will leave London with a guaranteed title match at a time of their choosing. And who do you want to see capture the briefcases in the English capital? During this week's Raw, it was teased that JD McDonough could become the next member of the Judgment Day, but this group isn't the only one on TV. Fans who tune in can also see the likes of the Bloodline, Imperium, and other factions, and now Triple H has some big plans for the stables of WWE. According to sources, the game is a big fan of factions and is cooking up plans for a faction to recreate the success of the Undisputed Era in NXT. The report didn't state whether this would be a current faction or one yet to be made, but did state that fans can expect a strong showing moving forward. In NXT, the quartet of Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong proved to be dominant and popular, and at one point held every championship available to them. With JD McDonough being teased for the Judgment Day, it's clear that Triple H has plans for the Irish Ace, and we'll have to see what comes next for the factions of WWE's main roster. During the recent WWE draft, plenty of names from NXT were called up to the main roster, but not everyone rumored for a move ended up being picked. It had been reported that Ilya Dragunov was being prepared for a call-up, but that ultimately didn't happen, though fans could soon see the former NXT UK champion on Monday Night Raw. According to a source who reached out, WWE has plans in motion for Dragunov to join Imperium, but it said that if WWE goes ahead with the idea, it will happen later. Dragunov becoming a member of the European faction would certainly be interesting, given that he was the one who dethroned Gunther as NXT UK champion, something the Austrian no doubt remembers. As always, plans could change, and the report did make it clear that there are eyes on Dragunov being a member, but it appears nothing has been made official at this time. Dragunov has proven to be a hit with fans in NXT UK and the Gold Brand's American branch, but do you think joining Imperium is the right call? Share your views in the comments down below. One name who has already reached the top of her field is Bianca Belair, who has dominated for over a year as WWE's Raw Women's Champion. For over 400 days, Belair has defeated every woman in her way and has pretty much done everything there is to do, which may be why WWE is considering a drastic change for her. According to a source within WWE, one idea being thrown around is for Belair to turn heel alongside the Street Profits. This would be the first heel run ever for Belair, and the driving force behind this idea is that if WWE keeps her as a face beating everyone, the fans will begin to turn on her eventually. It is worth stressing that there are prominent names behind the scenes who are completely against the idea and have cited Belair's position as a role model to young female fans, a demographic WWE notoriously has struggled with, as the reason to keep her face. If a heel turn happens, it reportedly won't be until months from now, and do you think such a heel turn could work? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Earlier this week, it was reported that WWE were allowing several superstars flexibility in their promos and would be allowed to have their own improvised lines on the show. One of the biggest criticisms of WWE's product for years is talent being forced to recite monologues word for word, but not everyone has to do that. In an update from WWE insider source BWE, it is revealed that not only are some superstars being granted flexibility, but a very small number are completely free from scripted promos. It's not said which superstars are granted this luxury, though we expect Roman Reigns to be on that list, and it's been reported that he comes up with his promos with Paul Heyman. John Cena is also another likely name who gets to appear on TV without a script, but BWE pointed out that there is no way that this script-free policy will be expanded to the rest of the roster. While some superstars are stifled by the scripted promos, other, less creative talents are helped by being given what to say, and time will tell if anyone else gets to go script-free on WWE TV. Over to AEW, and on tonight's show, Tony Khan will make an announcement, which is believed to be the confirmation of the rumored Saturday wrestling show, AEW Collision. If the rumors are to be believed, Collision will feature CM Punk as the show's biggest star, and the two-time former AEW World Champion's return may not be a secret for much longer. As Eric Druzarian of Wrestling Observer Live explained on Twitter, fans should expect Punk's return to be announced in the coming days. In fact, Zarian later stated as far as he knows, Punk's return could be announced as soon as tonight's Dynamite, in what would be a second blockbuster announcement by the AEW president. While fans expected Punk's return to be a surprise, announcing him in advance would allow AEW the chance to promote his return in the weeks before Collision's premiere, and it's long established that Punk is a ratings draw. With the viewership of both Dynamite and Rampage falling noticeably over the past year, there's a lot of people counting on Collision being a hit, and fans can expect not one, but two huge announcements very soon. Punk will be kept on AEW Collision for the most part to keep him away from the Elite, as the issues between the two sides stemming from All Out are far from settled. While some have argued that Punk versus the Elite would make for a huge match on TV, the trio of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks aren't interested at this time, and that has to change, according to Konnan. Speaking on his Keeping It 100 podcast, Konnan said that everyone involved should be past being marks for ourselves and realize that there is serious money to be made with an on-screen feud. Konnan also argued that Punk and the Elite not working together sends a bad message to the rest of the AEW roster, that if they just don't want to do something, Tony Khan will give in and comply with their request. Khan's leadership has come under significant criticism with the All Out fiasco, and many believe that he has not been asserting himself as the leader of AEW and the boss of Punk and the Elite enough. Despite Punk versus the Elite being a draw, it's been reported that the Chicago-made wrestlers' first programs will be against the likes of Samoa Joe and Chris Jericho. But do you want to see Punk and some allies throw down with the Bucks and Omega? We've got an update on Jerry Lawler now, as the King suffered a stroke in his home earlier this year. It was this stroke that resulted in Lawler inducting Andy Kaufman into the WWE Hall of Fame from his home in Florida, and now Jerry's old broadcast partner Jim Ross has given an update. On his Grilling JR podcast, Ross said that the King is still struggling with his health, and while he has a good team of doctors who have located a lot of issues, he's not out of the woods when it comes to getting back to a good degree of health. Jerry Lawler has had several health issues over the years, including his 2012 incident during an episode of Raw, and we're wishing the King a full and speedy recovery. And we're ending today with Sari, who parted ways with WWE earlier this year and has since returned to her native Japan. While Sari enjoyed her time with NXT, she also felt like she was spending the best years of her wrestling career on the sidelines, and she's now back in the ring. The former superstar made her return in the main event of a special event titled Sariism last night, and saw her face off against Chihiro Hashimoto in the main event. Despite this being her return and the event being named after her, this wasn't enough to give Sari the win, as she came up short against Hashimoto in the 20-minute headliner match. For Sari, this was her first match since the August 2nd episode of NXT, where she faced Mandy Rose, and while the Japanese star is happy to have been a superstar, she's now ready to get back in the ring.